Okay, step 1, start your seeds. Did that. Step 2, insert plants. Okay, fill these things up and let them sit for 10 days to become established, and then step 3, hang. Oh, hi, I didn't see you there. You caught me doing something I rarely do, reading instructions. I don't know if you recall, but in a previous video I started some seeds for these vertical garden grow bags. It's very windy out here, so everything is kind of jammed under this tray right now. Hopefully that doesn't affect the microphone too much. But today I am going to proceed with step 2, which is filling these with soil and putting some plants in them. And then I have to keep them sitting around in this position for 10 days or so until they become established. Then I can finally hang them on the rail or on the wall, whatever I decide. I'm thinking the rail though. I've got a really nice trellis I found in the alley. Oh, look at that beauty. Someone threw this thing away. It's about 8 feet tall. I think it'll be a great apparatus for growing cucumbers, or if the cucumbers are too heavy for it, maybe morning glories. I do have another trellis, that cheap plastic thing over there. I could use that too. But I think to get started, what I'm going to do is mix up some soil on my tarp, which I don't have yet. I'll have to go grab that, and I'm not going to make you watch that. I'll just take some old soil, put in some compost mix and some fertilizer, and then stick it in these bags, get them filled up, and then we'll get to dividing the tomatoes and getting the salad lettuce mix, my favorite kind of salad, and the cucumbers into these bags. While I'm messing around with the soil, why don't you go inside with me and take a look at the cucumber experiment results. We have some that are not doing so well, and some that are looking quite a bit better. And I will tell you everything I did in the soil, fertilizer, no fertilizer, compost, no compost, etc. So you can see with perfect scientific conclusions what works best. Go ahead and head inside. I'm gonna get the soil ready, and I'll see you back out here. Here we have those cucumbers I planted for the vertical garden. Number 1, 2, and 3. 4 is missing. Why? I'll show you that in a second. 5, 6, 7, and then 8 died. But 4 I had to put in a bigger pot because it was starting to grow up and grab onto the grow light rack with these tendrils. This thing is out of control. So, what did I do with each of these? Let's review. I made my list. Number 1, compost and potting mix with some seed starting mix and then fertilizer on top. Number 2, compost and potting mix, no fertilizer. Interesting. Number 3, compost only. That one does not look too good. So maybe compost only is no good. This big old bugger here that I had to finally put in a pot. It's still too cold to go outside. Seed mix, potting soil, and no fertilizer. This one, number 5, exact same thing, but with fertilizer on top. That doesn't look too good. This is number 6 right here. Seed mix only with fertilizer mixed in. Interesting. 7, mostly compost with fertilizer mixed in. And then 8, the one that died, miscellaneous on bottom with fertilizer, then seed mix on top. Apparently that's not the way to go. Actually, just kidding. I think this is not really an experiment. It's not really following the rules of experiments with controls and blah, 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 blah. But it was something to do. I don't think I did anything really out of the ordinary to make this one this big. It just happened to get this big. But pretty soon I can put that outside. I'll grow this one up on a trellis. The rest of these are going into the vertical gardening bag. And we are back. What did you think of the experiment, huh? The results? I mean, amazing, isn't it? Old number 4 just blowing up like that. The rest of these doing okay. This one not so much, which is, you know, too bad, but probably good, because I don't know how I'm going to get these plants into these tiny holes. So maybe it's for the best that some of them didn't make it. They won't have to suffer getting shoved through this tiny little hole. But I'm not going to do that one right now. I do have this lettuce here, and what I realized as I was getting these ready, there's 8 holes and I only used 4 cells. So I'm going to have to divide these up. And what I was doing before you got back is splitting these up like so. And now I have these little plugs I can put in each one. And I'll also do the same with these tomatoes, the yellow pear tomato and the cherry tom. Those will be going into this one. So I think what I'll do is put lettuce in here, in that one, 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 and that one. That about does it for the salad mix vertical garden. Now I have to let this sit for 10 days for the roots to become established. I'll be interested to see if these all live. I really had to kind of force them through these tiny holes, and I don't know if they're going to make it or not, but we'll find out. Tomatoes are going to go in this one. Tomatoes will go in another one. Cucumbers in another one. So I have 4 of these total. I'll plant these up and give you an update in a couple of weeks if anything lives. If not, you'll never hear about it again. But while I have the tarp out, I thought it might be fun to dump out my Bokashi Compost to see what it looks like. It's been I think a month or 2 since I first put it into the soil. If you watch the old Bokashi video, the wildly inaccurate history of Bokashi, you'll see that I started some Bokashi compost, and I would check that out. I actually managed to get one of the Attenborough brothers to narrate it. Not either one of the famous ones. The third Attenborough brother, Chevy. He did a great job. Thank you, Chevy. But anyway, take a look at that video, and then let's go over to the tarp, and I'll dump out the Bokashi compost that I put in the pot a month and a half ago, after sitting in the bucket for probably a month with the scraps and the bran and the scraps and the bran and the mashing and the scraps and the bran and the mashing. So take a look at that video. Otherwise, everything I just did won't make any sense. But let's go take a look, see what we got inside that big old blue pot. Over there somewhere. All right, I've got the tarp all ready to go. I've got the big old bucket of soil that I dumped the Bokashi compost into. So just to recap, a couple of months ago I started putting kitchen scraps in a Home Depot bucket, putting Bokashi bran on top of that and mashing it down. More scraps, more bran, more mashing, repeating. And then I let it sit in a bucket for a while and ferment, and then I buried it deep into this pot. And I think you're supposed to wait about 2 weeks. I feel like I've been waiting maybe a month or so. So this should be quite the exciting reveal. Let's go. So I think I'll do is just dump this whole thing out, and let's see what's in it. And then I'll use this soil in a couple of pots, maybe mark it, and see if those plants perform better than other plants, see if this whole thing is worth it or not. It is a good way to get rid of kitchen scraps in an apartment, so I'll give you that. It does not have a bad smell. It almost smells like a brewery, which is kind of nice. But I'm interested to see if it has any benefit for the plants. So we'll do that a little later, but first let's see what's in this sucker. Maybe I can just flip it over like flan. Flan. Okay, here we go. Aha! This pot is from back when I used to think you needed rocks at the bottom of your pot for drainage. So let's get those out of the way. Now, I haven't been watering this pot at all, but there is a ton of moisture down here. I don't think the Bokashi compost was this deep, but this nice black soil sure does look pretty. Oh yeah, here you go. I'm gonna just judo chop this thing in half. This is probably the mass that was the Bokashi. I can feel it just doesn't come apart like the soil did. Oh, still stuff in there. Smells like soil. But you can tell this is where the massive scraps was, clearly. Not completely degraded, but well on its way. I mean, I could still pick out leaves and stuff like that, twigs. Not too many eggshells, a few eggshells. Okay, well, there we go. It's much more, ooh, it's hot. This part's really warm. Right in the middle of that pot was really warm. I'm going to go ahead and just mix this up, and I'll save this soil. And we'll use it in a couple of experiments in some pepper plants with this and without this, and we'll see what happens. I think that should wrap it up for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big old like. Make sure to check out the old Bokashi video from a few months back, where I started this whole thing. Once again, thank you, Chevy Attenborough, for narrating. You did a great job. Hope to have you back here on the show some other time. But I think that'll do it for now. Have a great day, everyone. Until next time.